That's starting. I gotta make sure that we have the. Okay, good. We good.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
Hey, didn't notice you there.
Yeah, look at. What are you, a freshman in college?
Well,
This is a faux pas. I was walking around San Antonio with this around my neck, and I'm like, oh no, that dude.
I know. I couldn't
That's
do
right.
that all
I'm pretty
day.
sure there's everyone.
Oh yeah.
If you're on a scooter and you're by the convention center, you're a nerd.
That's amazing.
You know.
So, hello, one viewer. When there's one viewer, that's when we start talking.
I think it's Jill.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's Perry Burkham here. We got Casey Gibson. I always say Gibbons now.
Hello, hello.
And we have Neal Ronahan.
Hi.
Yeah.
Also, Neal Ronahan's Mike Man,
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Casey.
personal runner.
You got to do the thing from the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like the guy. That does the whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, we first day at PAX today. Has it just been
It's
today?
in the books. Yeah, well, because yesterday
San Antonio for like a little over 24 hours.
That's crazy.
well, we had such a full day yesterday.
I know.
I'm not really. I mean, gaming, but more so just running around, scooting around.
Right. But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun, but man, we had a huge day. With a gigantic 2-hour nap in between.
Not everybody.
Yeah, not this guy. I don't know why I just shut down. Anyway, but we saw a lot of games today. We're going to talk about them. And then we also capped off the day with a wonderful Super Nintendo password panel that we did. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun, actually. And yeah, and that went really well. And actually, we will have that available to download. You can listen to the whole panel
Shortly after this.
on Talk Nintendo's feed. So and we'll probably try to get something on YouTube as well. Anyway,
Like I said, if you have the audio, we can do the panel, like the slides, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not here, but like when we get back.
yeah, for sure. But so I'm trying to think. What was our
First game was Mage Quit, which
Mage
is
Quit, that's
a
right.
10-player multiplayer game with online, right? And it's cool. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like 10 rounds, and you start, and it's just whoever has the most kills. It's not necessarily who's like gets wins of a round. It's all about getting the most kills as your beard grows longer with each kill.
The blood of your fallen goes into your beard. It makes it nice and
And-
pointy and longer
Yeah.
and pointy.
And it has this really cute art style where it's kind of like it's kind of like polygonal, like sharp polygonal and kind of cell shady, but not. But it's kind of like Fia or like just a really clean style. And yeah, I
You didn't get to play as much as we did.
No.
So like to see how it goes after, like you start out very basic with like one spell.
Yeah, it's just like a basic, like straightforward fireball or like a wind spell.
Right.
They'll have different, like one might have higher knockback, but that's your first spell, and you do it in. There's a draft. So we started off when we were playing. You can do it with 10 players from the outset, but we did it with 4 players. So it was Casey, me, and then 2 randoms. That you'll see we have direct feed footage of it. That
yeah,
I need to
and
sort
a
through
great
that
interview
at some point.
great interview. Yeah.
But yeah, so then you do that, and then after the first round, then you have another draft where whoever's in last place, they pick first, and then I think it's like you fill in. You have a melee spell at some point. You end with the ultimate spell, which is like a really big one. There's all different varieties, and it kind of fills in the buttons on your controller. So like the first one is we were playing on PlayStation controllers. So it was like X, then like you had like a like L1, then I think it was down on the right stick
for the melee attack.
And
stuff, yeah,
and then like that triangle. And it was pretty neat. If I did have a complaint, the cooldowns were on like your health bar or whatever, but especially when there were a lot of people there, it was super hard to kind of tell like, all right, what spell is back. Like there's definitely, I think there's more of a learning curve to that game that I don't think is communicated that well while you're playing it.
Yeah, I think after a few rounds, like, oh, I get where this spell is, but yeah, then they just keep sort of piling on new spells, and after if you played like 2 or 3 rounds, you might know where to look better with the cooldowns and stuff. Early on, like with just a couple people and just a couple spells, it was like okay, very manageable. And then as you got deeper, and of course, like I'm pretty sure we had 10 by the end of it. and it was just haywire. Like,
Yeah.
and then some of the maps like get really small, and you're just like, oh my goodness.
It looked like it ran well though. I mean, we were playing it on PC.
Yeah.
Too. So, but they said that hopefully like in June or something they wanted this out. So
yeah, I think it's going to be totally dependent on how people sort of take to it.
You can play it with one
And-
Joy-Con though,
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But like,
and they told me that it's you can turn that it's gonna have a Joy-Con
the gyros.
gyro.
Right?
Yeah.
A mechanic that like was really because it's not like we had like any kind of demo space. It was like
Yeah.
immediately go in there and like I need to live.
Right.
But you can use motion controls to like curve your spells, which if you find people that get really into it, like it sounds like it could be a really cool game.
Yeah.
But with a lot of these like online games on Switch, I always like because there's so many of them that like I try it with like my group of friends to like see what's gonna break through.
You're right.
And I don't like I think this is a really cool idea, and I think it's that there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't break it.
And it's totally like if you go in there with 3 players, sure, it might be fun for one match or or one set of rounds, and but like, oh, okay, it's definitely going to be dependent on having like a healthy community online. And like you said, it's like, is it going to be able to sort of pull that attention from other games away?
Right.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I had fun with it. Like you said, reigning champion, I should point that out.
Yeah, because you played 9 rounds of it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's 10 a set of 10 rounds.
Oh, was it 10 rounds? And then Casey won.
Yeah, champion.
And you were
My beard was long.
And we have that
my
on
beard was
video.
short. I had so it's like you get knocked into water, like because all the knockback of anything. I had several matches where it was like we both threw like me and another person both threw spells at each other, and then like we just got hit to the other sides of the map. And when you're in water, you automatically lose health. So I'm just like slowly walking back. I'm like, I'm not making it back.
And then a gigantic,
like, go quick. Yeah, and then the fish comes by and it just
fish.
gobbles you down anyway. But yeah, fun little game. Fun little game.
So that was Mage Quit.
Mage
like Rage Quit, but with mages. Get it?
A
couple guys from Michigan.
Then we moved on to, we had a couple of appointments. Perry and I went over and played Ion Maiden, which is a
old school
like
FPS.
a love letter to like Doom and like old first person shooters. Totally super arcadey. You move super quick. It has like this super cheesy one-liners, like they're definitely leaning into it super hard, and like they're going after that.
The way they explained it, it's kind of like they wanted to make it feel like you remember, but obviously with better. So it's playable now.
Modern
exactly.
hardware and modern ideology.
So yeah, and that was only a PC build. I interviewed Casey, played on, and it looked like a lot of fun. Actually, it looked really cool. Really neat.
No, I'm in on playing that game. And like I played first person shooters back in the day, but like it's not like I grew up like, I guess I played Quake back in the day, but this is definitely more like Doom and
and you guys know that game Rad Rogers? Have you seen that? Oh, wait, I just saw it's coming out. It's a side scrolling game anyway, and the guy that directed this game or produced Ion Maiden directed
director
Rad Rogers, if anyone sees that.
So it's a 3D Realms joint, right?
3D Realms, that's right.
Okay.
3D Realms.
3D Realms, I think they did Duke Nukem.
Oh, did they?
I'm pretty
this is Duke. That's what I was looking for. Duke
Nukem.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
This is totally a Duke Nukem.
So yeah. So
when's it coming out?
They said I think they said a couple months. It's sometime this year. Everything that we saw today is coming out this year. I know that
by theory.
Yeah.
Which means it's coming out next year.
Best laid plans. Yeah. Like I think there was some like I did like the realness from like I mean we haven't done like our full appointment with Fabraz yet with Skellboy.
Yeah.
The realness of that of being like, Dev is thinking spring, but it's probably going to be summer. Like, I appreciate that. Like, just like, oh no, like that's how it works.
Exactly.
And I
hope for the best.
I should point out, every game I played today was not on the Switch.
Yeah.
I mean, at least at PAX.
PC,
I mean,
everything was like on a PC or PS4.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Oh no. Actually, that's a good segue. I played 3 games on a Switch.
Yeah, let's go to, because you met with
Rising Star Games and Thunderful. They were at. They didn't have a booth, but the PR rep was wandering the floor. Met up with him and played Giga Wrecker. that I keep on wanting to call
Giga-Wrecker. This is
or
the weirdest
Giga-Wrecker
thing.
Alt, which is a new game from the Pokemon guys, Game Freak.
Game Freak, published by Thunderful, Rising Star, and Limited Run.
I think it's Rising Star is technically the publisher.
Well, they all have something to go with it.
Thunderful is working with Rising Star, I think.
All right,
they have some kind of agreement.
But Limited Run is also involved too.
Yeah, Limited Run. So as far as release timing for that, because I was confused by that, because I initially saw the Limited Run announcement, which that was like saying like, oh, by the end of the year. So I was like, okay, that game's coming out in a while. But Giga-Wrecker is probably going to be out, a couple months. Like probably, I think Q2 is. It could sneak out in March, but like that one. I
don't even know what kind of game this is.
So it came out. It's actually on Steam already, or at least in another form. It was an early access game from Game Freak, which is, I don't know. It's still weird. Like they've been experimenting more with like Temba the Badass Elephant. They had some other Nintendo joints, but as far as things not on Nintendo systems,
yeah.
And this is another one where I think, it came out on PC first. I think is it a Switch exclusive on console, or is it coming to everything?
Talking to the wrong guy.
We're in the convention bubble where like news happens, but you're like, oh, I was in transit.
Yeah,
like,
that's so funny. Like the angry video game nerd. I don't know if you saw that the collection.
Yeah,
that was news apparently. Yeah, I just walked by. Oh, okay, yeah.
So Giga-Wrecker's side-scrolling game. It's got an anime story, and you're a girl who is turned into a cyborg.
No,
and with her arm. She can do like basic attacks, hitting robots with her arm. But she can also, at the click of the R button, accumulate mass. So it'll just be like scrap and stuff. So then you just have this giant ball of stuff on your arm, and then you can throw it at people. And that's cool. There's certain enemies where like
from the makers of Drill Dozer.
Yeah. There's it's probably the most Drill Dozer-ian game that they've made.
Is it a side-scrolling game?
Yeah, side-scrolling.
Sounds fun.
And then so you can do that, and that's used to like certain enemies. You need to have a ball of mass that is big enough to like defeat them. You can't kill them with regular attacks. There's some physics-based puzzles where there will be like you need to kind of wreck things in a way that like it lets you climb up to a higher point or something like that. There was also some later game stuff that I saw where it was like, as you accumulate the mass, you have a different move that's like a slash attack that you do with it that kind of like extends like a sword with your mass that you accumulate. You can also turn it into a cube, which lets you do more platforming. There's also a thing where like the ball can pass through a certain thing to rubberize it, and then you can bounce onto things. So it seems like they do a lot of cool things with that mechanic. I did like near the end of my time with the demo, it looks like there's like an overall map that you can go between. I don't know if there's like going to be a lot of returning to areas or not. You can upgrade your character. I think that about covers it. Like
from the makers of Harmonite.
Yeah. I like the way that game feels. And I got to a point where I'm like, I should probably stop playing. Like I like this. Like I could spend more time with this.
But you did play some more games.
Yeah, briefly, because I spent a lot of time with Giga-Wrecker.
Right.
I did check out Rico, which seems like it might be in the Iron Maiden school of things, where that has more like it's definitely an art style that seemed a little bit more. Probably by the nature of it being on Switch. It's not like a cutting edge looking game. But that it seems like there's a mix of modes. I played the like procedurally generated rooms where you're just kind of going through and like going into a room, clearing it out of enemies, and moving on. There's also some element with that where you can like put together cases and like you're like solving crimes, but most of it's just shoot first person shooter fun. I also saw very briefly a game called Decay of Logos, which I want to look into more. Which was kind of described to me as like a 3D Zelda Dark Soulsian kind of thing. It had a neat art style, and like I basically fumbled my way through an opening boss, or an opening, not even a boss battle, just an opening fight with an enemy, and then like wound up being like, well, I have to go to my next appointment.
Gotcha.
Which actually, by the time I got to my next appointment, you guys were already done because you were Boy Scout early.
Yeah.
We figured we're like, let's go get some food.
Yeah.
And what was that? That was Yours Bird.
Yeah.
Yep.
We They had Y2K, which we
How do you pronounce the name? Did you?
I think it's Ears Beard.
Ears Beard.
Ease.
That's what I'm going with.
Ease Beard, because I remember it's like Ease 8. Like it was
Ease Beard.
Ease Beard.
Ears Beard.
Ears Beard.
Ears Beard.
Yeah, they had Y2K,
yeah.
which we didn't bother really looking at.
Since we have a review up.
Reviews up.
I spent time with Y2K over the past month as I reviewed the game.
At home, yes.
Yep.
So they had World of Horrors.
Yeah.
And
this game is actually pretty cool.
Is a game that is right out of my wheelhouse.
Only because it's an adventure game.
Yeah, it's an adventure game. But it's really, the graphics and the art style is really cool. And I could, like, if you're into that kind of game, I feel like this has like potential because it looked really cool. You know, like you were going through the demo, you were going through a school and you needed to like perform a ritual. So you had to go get like a candle and stuff. And there's like enemies about. And when you encounter an enemy, it's like, it's turn-based like an RPG. And it was weird because I only really could kick. Like you could do a couple actions, like you had an action bar and each action took up a little piece of it. So you could do a couple different, like a sequence of attacks or moves within one turn, and then it would do it. There was like a slot for, it looked like a gun or like a melee weapon as well and stuff, but we didn't have those. So it's like pretty much when I was in combat, I was just like kick, 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 kick. And it, and it was like, okay.
So this is a guy from, where is he from?
You couldn't pronounce it, right?
Well, his name is Pavel. I think Pavel, if I remember it right. He's like, I was like, what's your development studio called? And he goes, you won't be able to pronounce it. But amazingly enough, he said that every single asset in that game was made by Microsoft Paint.
I believe it. I mean, well, I should say I believe it looking at it, and not in a bad way, but I can't imagine how long that took.
I know,
because some of the like monsters, when you'd see them up close, are
they're
detailed,
so cool, really cool,
despite being like very
kind of
pixely,
monotonous, or monotone.
Yeah, like maybe like I felt like there might have been like it's not
colors,
just it's not just black and white, but they're
really really cool, in depth, and then also they're going for 80s anime horror, which I think is really cool. So that game looked really cool. Honestly, it's just
not my
demoing a point and click like an adventure game. It just seems like, with all the just that noise pollution going on around you, it's kind of hard to get it. But yeah, anyway, that game did look cool, and scary.
Brief follow up. Giga Wrecker is PS4 and Xbox One, though not physically on Xbox One. Thanks, Third Rate Minion. Thanks, Alex and Tony.
Boom. Thank you.
But Limited Run is
for
doing
Switch.
It for Switch.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like another game this Jim's gonna buy.
Oh yeah, I'm getting it.
I'll get it when it comes out digitally, like 8 months before you get Limited Runs.
Yeah, and I'll get it on Limited Run 8 months after.
And then he won't play it because he'll keep it in the shrink wrap and just put it on his bed.
Speaking of which, I can show off since it's a video. I did pick up this from Limited Run today. I got Ocean Horn. It's physical. They didn't actually. It's weird. They didn't actually like publish it. They helped publish it somehow.
Yeah. They announced that at their E3 press conference.
Yeah.
Guess what, boys and girls?
I don't know, but anyway, that was kind of fun.
And then he just chucked it.
I also picked up another. So what if I picked up another Slime Song Collector's Edition?
Yeah, he did. The computer is resting on it right now.
Yeah, it is. Keeping it warm.
So after that, we had Fantasy Strike. Which, you know what? I'm just going to give you this mic.
So, Casey interviewed the guy.
Yeah, which that interview, I look forward to hearing that interview because it seems like David Serlin is the guy's name.
Also, seemed to go on quite long. I kept looking back like after 10 rounds, and I'm like,
well, you know what?
Okay,
yeah,
Casey.
like Perry and I played every character in this 2D fighting game. David Serlin has a background in Street Fighter development and pro play.
Yeah, he's a pro Street Fighter.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Fantasy Strike is kind of like I expected it was going to be like frame counting 2D fighting game, but like
complete opposite.
Yeah, well,
it is super. It's easy to jump into, and like the way it does health bars, how it's not a bar that goes down. It's a chunk that like as you take a hit, it'll go down. There are characters that take more hits, and it seems like it's pretty well balanced in that regard.
Yeah, he was saying he wanted it to know where like you would be able to see, like, how much damage is going to come off if these attacks land. And then he also said that there was like a buffer in between attacks. So like it isn't about being frame perfect. There are no quarter circles like in where like you need to hit these really complex. He wanted it to be where the player would want to do something and be able to execute that without giving up, like without it being super shallow. Like there is still depth and strategy within it, but yeah,
it shows like that's the thing with it, is that like I mean I feel bad because I think for the first couple matches Perry didn't realize what the controls were, but like I saw a little like it was just like it showed you the controller and what the buttons did, and I was like, okay, like
I'm not gonna tell him
the basic. I did the first match I pointed to. I was like, yeah, the controls are right there, and you did not recognize it, and then I realized like a couple games I'm like, oh, that's why I'm kicking his butt.
Now that I'm feeling good, I guess.
But we played like probably.
And then we played, and then
I beat him the last
yeah.
match.
I asserted my dominance at Fantasy Strike. It won't last.
But
But yeah. So you have it where there's a basic attack, and like you can hit that. I think there might be like some directional stuff, depending on like how you hit that. Like if you're in the air, that does a different attack. I think you can double tap it for some characters and do combos. Then you have 2 special attacks that are on 2 other face buttons. There's a throw, and then you build up a super meter, and every character has, I think they might have 2 special attacks, depend on situations with that.
Yeah, he said you got like your special attack if you just use it, and then if you're in the air and use it, you get a different one.
Yeah. And like the characters, there was Aragarg, who's like the fish man, that like his special was just like a giant, like a bunch of like a water burst comes out, and then a giant like piranha attacks.
And every attack is announced.
Yeah, and like there's the gambling, the panda who is a gambling problem, who has an attack where he throws out a melon and just says, "Have a melon." And he looks kind of, depending on your color scheme, he kind of looks like Winnie the Pooh. There's the weird painter that Casey, I think you said something about her.
She's like manic depressant.
Yeah.
Or something. So like sometimes she's going bananas. Yeah. And then sometimes I guess she's like,
Yeah, and that's what I actually noticed that when I was playing, because I think that was the one where the first match you kicked the crap out of me because I was doing her buttons and like she wasn't doing anything. Then the next one I just floored you. I'm like, what happened? and I think that might have been what happened.
I remember when you were going. I just look at you like, played this game before, and you said, I'm just hitting buttons.
Yeah like that's that's the thing with 2D fighting games. Like I have the utmost respect for stuff like Street Fighter, but it's not for me.
No, it isn't.
Like I think those games are really cool. Like I've dicked around with Street Fighter 4 and 5 before, like and I enjoyed playing the Street Fighter 2 30th anniversary collection.
Yeah, and the
like that was really cool. Like like I have fun with those games, but I'm never gonna get deep into them. With Fantasy Strike, like Fantasy Strike is kind of the Smash Brothers of 2D fighters in that regard. Well,
Smash Brothers is a 2D.
But Smash Brothers is a party game.
But yeah,
Fantasy Strike is actually a 2D fighter.
Oh, let's not go down that rabbit hole. But hold on, Metroid Prime. What are you gonna say? That's not a first-person shooter.
I mean, it's technically it's a first-person adventure. Thank you very much.
Right, but it plays as a first-person.
Yeah. Just like Smash Brothers plays as a fighting game, but it's a party game.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah,
Pikmin, RTS, and all that business, kind of,
Yeah.
Animal Crossing kind of the sim.
Or is Pikmin a puzzle game? Who knows?
But is it AAA?
Yeah. But anyway, Fantasy Strike was a game that when we made the appointments for PAX South, when we made the appointments for PAX South, I was not excited for Fantasy Strike, and I basically like showed up there and I was just like, oh, I guess I'll play it with Perry for footage. And then by the end of it, I'm like, yo, dude, when's this game coming out? Like, can we play online together? Like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we walked past it at first, and I was like, yeah, fighting game, like instantly not. Not for me. I mean, it looks cool, looks cute, looks fun. But then I was actually kind of excited because Casey, I was doing all the interviews, and we got to that one. I was like, oh, I can actually kind of play this one because, like, Casey was playing on all these PCs and like first-person shooters and adventure games. I'm like, this one, I just kind of want to sit down. I'm already tired. I just want to sit down and play. So I was excited to play it because it was simple, but it ended up being really fun.
You might have done a few of the first interviews, but I got the Behemoth interview.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was like,
he just seems to love his game.
Yeah, he was talking about it, and then I'm like, so online play, and he's like, let me give it the spiel.
I mean, basically, it's cross-play, but Sony sucks.
Yeah.
if we should end on, if we're gonna, we should end on the idea that the net code is gonna be huge. That was his biggest thing because he's a pro fighting player, and obviously, if anyone knows about that, like there's two different kinds of net code. There's the good kind and the bad kind.
Yeah.
And he is getting the good kind, and he's working up to it and getting it to be as responsive as possible. And so that's what's going to be about this game. Is
maybe Nintendo should talk to him about doing that for Smash Brothers.
And he was saying with the game, like matchmaking, there'll be an in-game friends list. Like it'll pull people from your Nintendo friend list on there, and then you can add friends. And it's just as simple as I see Neal's online, and I see like across, like, oh, he's available to play. You tap that, it goes, do you want to play? Yep, and then it throws you in like the local multiplayer environment from that point on. Like you would, like it's same as if we were playing on the couch, and like say we're fighting and Perry sees that, there'd be a little eye on there, like an eye, and you can click on that, and then without fail just jumps right in and witnesses us play.
And he could probably quarter up too.
At any time, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
At any time you can view other people.
And then it's so funny after that huge spiel about all the internet. I'm like, all right, well, thank you so much, And he's like, do you want to hear more? And I'm like, all right. He's like, well, I got news that's just coming out today. And then he said about the thing's going to have like a roguelike single player where it's like boss rush mode.
Is Fantasy Strike my most anticipated game right now?
I think so.
In this moment, it kind of is.
And after you beat a boss, you get to like unlock a new skill or ability to sort of counteract like the boss. And he's like, and by the time you get to the end of it, he's like, it's almost game breaking because you have so many abilities, and it just goes haywire.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Is that like I feel like I've gone to too many games where it's just the final boss is like, oh, it's so hard. At the end of this, you're never gonna want to play the game again.
Yeah.
And like I kind of love that moment. Like I think some Metroid games do a very good job of that. Like we're like, okay, yeah, maybe the final boss, like your Ridleys and your Brother Brains, maybe they're challenging, but you get to that moment in that game where like you got the screw attack, you got all these missiles, you're just going around, you're wrecking the world. Like I love that feeling in Metroid games, and I kind of wish games would lean into that because like by the time like have your hardest fight be like not
3/4 of the way in one, and then that gives you the big badass thing to make you strong,
I mean learn from the plot structure of like like books and movies and stuff where like they don't just end with the big gunfight. They have the big gunfight and then there's the falling action.
Then you get to be badass.
Or in this case, just have the action rise so far that like by the end it's silly, but it's really fun.
But it's still fun, and it makes you like, oh, well, we died, but like now I want to get back to that point and run through these bosses and get different power ups.
I love that with like roguelites. That's one of my favorite things is that you can get you become. By the end of it, you're just unstoppable, and I love that feeling with stuff.
Of like having that kind of that loadout that develops.
Binding of Isaac, that like for me that was
is that
sometimes you'd have such bad runs and you're like, oh, that's terrible, but then like you get that one where you're just like, I got a string of the most amazing power-ups, and it was like I want to get that run again, and like that keeps you going, and that's why like I felt like I played like a ton of Binding of Isaac, where like I had fun with it, but like to me it didn't have that same like I got the most insane upgrades, So
right.
I'm interested to see how this boss rush mode plays out with. And like, what exactly are these upgrades you're getting?
Well, and just to be honest, like with playing Smash, it's not super fun. I mean, like it's online.
Woo! You're off the panel.
No, online playing. I mean, like it's been like pretty crappy with playing with kids and stuff.
I'm not gonna play online Smash probably ever again.
I know, right?
I had a negative experience with it. I realized I don't enjoy it.
I'd be like, hey Neal, let's play some Fantasy Strike. It's kind of a really.
We've been talking about how much we're like, this game's great. What's the name of it again?
Well, Fantasy Strike is kind of.
The team had great.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, it'd be something that I would like to play because it runs well and it'd be fun. I don't know. Anyway, so.
And there's like a bearded dude who can turn into a dragon.
Yeah.
There's a clockmaker. There's some guy who just has a ghost girl, and one of his special moves is he sends the ghost girl out, and then the ghost girl grabs the opponent, and you can go beat the crap out of him. Like I'm all about Fantasy Strike right now.
The guy that goes
like a complete 180.
Yeah, like I you guys talk to me about it where it's like I don't care. But like now, I would actually say aside from Fantasy Strike, the other game, well, it was a game that I was very excited to play, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove.
Yeah.
Which you guys have never had experience with Toe Jam and Earl before, right?
No.
Like I have. So my like background with Toe Jam and Earl is I have an older cousin that whenever we go to his house, he had a Sega Genesis. My brother and I did not have a Sega Genesis right away.
You probably had a
Sega Genesis
Pepsi
sometime
too.
after that, but he had Toe Jam and Earl. I might have had a Pepsi there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how I play. That's how I played Toe Jam and Earl. Was like when I was like 5 years old, probably going to visit my cousin. And that's my memory of
the
it.
Oozing style.
I
That
played
game
played
so
a bunch
cool.
of that game, and it blew my mind when I was younger.
Yeah.
It blew my mind when I got a Genesis of my own. I played the sequel, which is a weird side scroller. But this game, but the thing that kind of fascinates me with when they announced the third game, or not the third game, there was an Xbox game that I'd never played. But Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove, when they announced that did the Kickstarter, I realized I'm like, wait a minute, Toe Jam and Earl was basically a roguelite before those were a thing. Like, I mean, it came out in 1991, and like how that game works.
Neal.
I was alive. But it came out in 1991, and it is a game that like it seems to have inspiration from Rogue, because there's procedurally generated levels in that game. Yeah, and that's what Back in the Groove is. It's basically that old format of like, you'll start at the bottom, and then you need to find elevators to get up, and you're finding your ship parts. It's predates Pikmin as far as looking for your ship parts.
So weird, but
and
it's just like
you're just going up, and there's like bizarre enemies. There's a hula dancer that like if you like I never messed with the dancing mini game, but like there's like maniacal carrots that run around. There's a lot of like weird earworm sound effects from that original game, and also the soundtrack is funky as hell.
Oh,
that's the best part. Yeah, I mean
the visual art style I really like too.
Yeah.
Super weird game. Like to me, like I enjoyed it, but like we only played up to level 5, and I think we had 2 ship parts.
Yeah.
So of course,
I think there's 15 to 20. I'm trying to think. It's set it on there. They're like, you got 2 of whatever.
Yeah, like there's a bunch. So like you don't attack really at all, right?
Yeah.
It's so at least the levels we were in, there weren't a ton of enemies really. Like I guess when you got level 4 and 5, there were definitely more. So I'm more interested to see like, because to me they were easy enough to get away from. But like when level 10, level 15, like I want to see how hectic and crazy it gets, to see, you know what I mean? Like see how much of a struggle it is to really stay alive. But yeah, super funky music. And pretty cool people there too, with Matt coming down to the panel.
Yeah. One of our supreme. I mean, we had wonderful people coming on to help out, be our special guests for Super Nintendo Password. Yes. We had Fabian from Fabraz. We had from Human Nature Studios doing Toe Jam and Earl, and then Andrew from Axe Studios came on to do it. And they were fantastic. But yeah, like Toe Jam and Earl, that's coming out March 1st on Switch. I'm stupid excited for that game. Like I love that style a lot, and I've got a childhood resonance with that game.
Yeah, even totally.
I don't think I ever beat the original Toe Jam and Earl. I could. It's on Sega. You can play both.
I know. I own it on Switch.
On Sega Genesis Classics, they're there.
Yeah, I
put like an hour or 2 into Toe Jam and Earl, shortly after that came out, because I was kind of like, I should play this before the new one comes out.
Yeah, I'm really interested to get into that game. Because I am interested to play it. Like I didn't really have a really super fun time. Also, it was not the best time for me because that was my shutdown era. I was just crashing.
I did have a moment. Yeah. So you find presents in Toe Jam and Earl, and you open them, and you'll get boosts. Like a telephone will reveal parts of the map. I think they were called mean roller skates. And so like when you go up these floors, and if you fall off, you go to the floor below. So we were on floor 4. These mean roller skates brought me down to floor 1. And you can do 4-player co-op.
So that's the thing we got to talk about. Yeah, we were all playing 4-player.
Split screen.
Yeah, that was cool. So you're walking around. It's 4 split screen, 4-player.
It
starts off one, and then it breaks off. Mm-hmm. And then when you align with people in certain ways, it will just like combine those 2 views into one, and it's really neat. Actually, I've never seen that before in a game.
And what's cool is like it didn't just necessarily like
it was completely naturally.
You're not always in the bottom, like here, you know what I mean? Like you find yourself up in this corner, you know what I mean? Like depending on where you were on the map, And yeah, it was cool. Like all of a sudden, the top would be splitting on the bottom because they were close enough, and it really interesting. Like a little jarring at first, but then like once you sort of like, oh, I see what's going on here. Like it makes sense,
Yeah, the whole game is pretty. I mean, it's
the
just
whole game's
so
jarring,
bizarre and wacky. I love the style. I love the idea of it is really fun. I'm really excited to see like what more of the, because I was kind of like, when it's co-op and it's one objective, it's like, well, I didn't do anything and I'm just hopping on an elevator and then I move up and I didn't do anything else and we're hopping. I mean, it just doesn't, nothing really is happening. So I'm anxious to see. Obviously, we had a random person join us too, and we didn't really get a chance.
She was having a little trouble.
Yeah. But anyway, playing that like maybe with one other person instead of like 4, or just maybe by
or
yourself.
Even solo.
I think solo
For
might
me,
even be.
like
I love the option.
Co-op was always Toe Jam and Earl was like they did have 2-player in the original.
Oh, they
game,
did.
Handled in a very similar way. That was always like we just like one of us would like get hit by a carrot or fall off, and then it'd just be like nonsense.
That's awesome. But yeah,
for me, I just want to see what the later levels look like.
Yeah,
I want to see like, is it going to be a very like sort of how it was, like, all right, like just or is it going to be where I'm on the edge of my seat, like, oh crap, I need, you know what I mean, like these weird things are coming at me, like I need to so
tons of funny dialogue, and yeah, that's fun.
And the characters are just cool. Like I had a little like Frogman with like a couple eyes, like I think he had 3 eyes, I don't know,
right?
But
Lawanda. There's Earl's mom.
Like sure not like every time you got into the rhythm, like they say like what's up, like Shonda or something like that. It was weird. Is it tons of crazy dialogue?
They're leaning into the weirdness, of course.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it is called Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
I know.
Sort of sets
back in the groove
for what you're in for. But
that's right. Now I guess we can end our podcast here with maybe just talk about our panel. I mean, I know we can talk about more games.
You can listen to that.
Yeah. You can listen to the panel. Super Password was a lot of fun. Yeah, like you said, those guys did a really good job. And we had so many funny parts with funny guesses. I'm trying to think of some of them.
Breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a guess for a Nintendo themed password game.
Yeah.
Perry threatened to kiss a young boy.
Yeah, I did at the very beginning. I did tell a young boy that if he got the puzzle on the first try, I'd kiss him on the lips.
He got up and left.
I immediately regretted that.
It got real weird.
Yeah,
the cops were called.
Security came in.
Yeah, the PAX enforcers were like.
But it was a lot of fun. We had funnily enough, we were gonna do tickets. Like we normally do, but we didn't do them this time. Instead,
I thought he was gonna be like, because Neal forgot them, but he didn't, so I took advantage of that situation.
Neal forgot the tickets, but I think it worked out better. Way better.
Because it was more fun to see, like,
because we had wireless mics, we're like, who wants to come up? And everyone's like, woo, and they were jumping on people's shoulders and stuff. And everyone was like pointing at one person, like they had a team. Like,
well, all right, you have to.
But we got through tons of people. I mean, we got.
I think 12, right? 12-ish.
If we had 12 rounds,
plus or minus rounds, yeah.
We might have had at least 25 plus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well,
25,
people,
20, 30, almost 30 people go through, and it was just so much fun. I can't wait, and I just think we all did a good job, guys. Did a good job.
Yeah. Pat ourselves on the back. Don't touch me, you pervert.
Burp. Come here.
And on that note,
it is
getting late.
It is. It's 12:20, so it's tomorrow. Yeah,
so it's tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Since we started, but thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, we're gonna have. I don't know if we're gonna do this exact format tomorrow, but we're gonna have more games to talk about.
Yep.
We got another panel.
Not that many more.
Yeah, not too many more. We got Skellboy. We've got Bee Simulator.
Oh yeah.
We've got NIS America, which has a whole slew of games that we'll be checking out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
There's a lot else.
Yeah, there's a couple other games, and then of course at that point,
we played Gato Roboto.
Oh yeah,
we can talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, let's talk about it because I'm gonna play that too. I'm gonna play that too.
I would like to play that game.
We just watched Ape Out. We did not play it.
And you didn't know if that was from the Garage guys, right? You didn't know that.
What?
Ape Out? Is that from the guys that did Garage and Mr. Shifty?
No.
Okay,
it just has that top-down view.
It was from
It's Devolver.
Oh, it's Devolver. And
Yeah,
that's
Garage
from,
and
that's
Mr.
from Tiny
Shifty
Build,
was
right?
Tiny Build.
Gotcha. I get those mixed up.
Yeah. Potato,
Potato, tomato. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Neal is yawning. And it's gonna make me yawn.
I'm gonna fall asleep in like 3 seconds from when I lay down.
I know.
And
So,
we're all gonna go to bed together.
like a dog pile.
Yeah. Which is only 4
Well,
minutes away.
I know.
You can still scoot.
You can scoot back.
Oh
yeah,
30-second scooter
The
ride.
scooters are amazing, everyone. So
I think you're gonna get a point of view scooter ride.
I am.
right,
Yeah, we
tomorrow.
gotta get that. We gotta get that. Running,
That'll be
so.
good in the morning.
Kind of. The
Morning
traffic's
scoots.
bad.
Morning scoots.
Traffic's bad.
Saturday though.
Saturday. Yeah, we'll do something.
Morning scoots. All right. Well, thank
We're
you.
gonna say
everyone.
goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Poodles.
Wave. Poodles.